Welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast with your host, Lorna Poole, sharing the secrets to creating wealth, investing, and that all-important money mindset. To find out more and accelerate your journey to financial freedom, head on over to www.lornapoole.com to get started. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast. Would you love to know a way to invest in the music industry? Well, my guest expert today, he's the chairman of the GoDigital Media Group, Jason Peterson, and he has 4 companies. He has 4 other companies, and 5 years ago in the music industry, the weakest link in the entertainment industry was revenue was down 50%. And Peterson wondered where all the revenue went since people were actually listening to more music than ever. Peterson has been a major force in changing the way music is marketed, consumed, and distributed around the world. The music industry is booming again. Artists signed or catalogues acquired by Peterson include Janet Jackson, T.I. Master P, Jason Derulo and Daddy Yankee. He's produced dozens of major music videos that have been won Video of the Year at the Gospel Music Awards, MTV Latin Video Music Awards, as well as the Best Directorial Debut at the MVPA Awards. Most recently, he's co-produced a video for Janet Jackson and Daddy Yankee, Made for Now. Peterson AdShare was one of the first companies to monetize music videos on YouTube, giving artists what amounts to an annuity for life. GoDigital Media Group invests in music as intellectual property, making music catalogues an ever-popular alternative investment. Cinq Music is now leverages social media in ways never thought possible to unite fans and globalize artists of all genres. Jason, great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the industry and how this all came about.
In 2000, pre-iTunes, CD sales obviously were driving the industry's growth. The industry peaked in that 2000, 2001, 2002 timeframe. And subsequently, with the invention of file sharing, Napster, LimeWire, etc., went through a 15-year decline. And I saw that peak and subsequent decline and I was actually in business school at the University of Southern California, and I forecasted the paradigm shift from physical goods like CDs and DVDs to digital goods. And I was looking at my phone and at the time what were MP3 players, Walkmans, going, why would you carry 2? And I essentially sat on this vision that I had for a digital media future and watched Apple launch iTunes in 2003 and subsequently the iPhone in 2005, and the light bulb went off. And I was fortunate enough to meet a gentleman named Master P, who in the United States from about 1995 until 2005 was probably one of the 3 largest urban artists in the country, alongside P. Diddy and Jay-Z, and had a very successful label named Element Records. And he was kind enough to support the entrepreneurial streak in me and give me a 5-year worldwide deal to do all his digital distribution. And that was how we got in the business of digital music. We had a vision and not much else. And we started building from nothing, essentially.
Wow. And the monetizing, so artists were losing money. Nobody was making money in the industry. Is this correct?
Yeah, there was like you said earlier, about a 50% decline in recorded music receipts globally. There was about a 60% decline in employment in the industry. It was a very difficult time from about 2001, 2002. until really the industry didn't see its first year of growth until the 2015-2016 time frame, and it's been explosively growing since due to streaming, which I analogize as the cable TV revolution of music. Right? If you think about cable TV, we have all historically spent $50 or $100 US equivalent to buy a bundle of channels that we could watch 24 hours a day, but we don't. We basically are paying for all the content we don't watch. And that is somewhat analogous to what a music subscription is. You have the history of Western music at your fingertips. You could listen to it 24 hours a day, but you don't. And when everybody starts to pay into the system, it creates this giant pool of money for the industry. And that's really driving growth in the music industry now. We still have a long ways to go on an inflation-adjusted basis to get back to the heyday of CD sales, but it's looking incredibly positive and much more sustainable.
So the money from the industry is coming off what exactly?
The money is predominantly coming from people who are subscribing to premium music streaming platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, YouTube Music, all of these platforms.
Okay, and how does somebody invest in the music industry? Let's go there.
Well, there's a couple of different ways to get exposure to music. You have globally 5 billion people as of this year, according to Sony Ericsson, who have a smartphone in their pocket, and 68% global coverage for 4G LTE high-speed wireless internet. And so when I'm talking about growth in the music industry, I'm not just talking about the United States, right? This is happening in almost every country around the world. So you can get exposure at really any of a couple of levels in the value chain. There are publicly traded platforms, right, that you can buy into and get exposure to the industry. Spotify being a big one, SiriusXM, who owns Pandora here in the U.S., being another one. There are conglomerates who have exposure to a lot of different sectors like Amazon and Apple. And, these are publicly traded companies. In India, Reliance has the Jio7 platform. In South Korea, you have companies like Kakao. So there are various publicly traded companies around the world, Tencent in China, NetEase, Baidu, Alibaba, so on and so forth. These are all companies that have a music offer available in the market. Now, the second level in the value chain are the rights holders. And the rights holders provide the music to these platforms and stream it to consumers. It's a little bit more difficult to get exposure to music rights at that level. That's the level that we play at, and that's the level that I believe is the best investment, because these music rights are essentially 100-year annuities. Here in the United States, copyright, generally speaking, lasts for the life of the author plus 70 years. So it's a very long-term asset. And it's similar to owning real estate, income property like an apartment building or any kind of commercial or industrial building that you might lease out. It creates a monthly annuity. To access these kinds of investments, there are two platforms that I'm aware of where private parties can trade, essentially buy and sell these rights and their related income streams. There's Royalty Share and Song Trader. And there are a handful of people who own music libraries that are publicly traded. Warner Music recently went public, Hypnosis Songs in the UK. And beyond that, you probably have to invest in a private equity fund that has exposure to music as an asset class. There are a lot of private equity funds that either directly buy music or invest in companies like ours that buy and hold music rights.
Interesting. So there's the public trade companies, the rights to hold the music. So that's like you can use them. You can own the music of an artist, and you have long-term annuity. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and then private equity. So that's like an index tracker or something like that. That's part of an asset class. Yeah.
I mean, private equity firms are typically they typically have funds, right? Open-ended or closed-ended funds that you would invest in. It's typically for high net worth individuals, family offices. You would access them through a private wealth manager, probably at Goldman or JP Morgan or somebody like that. It's typically not for what I would call the normal retail investor. They probably have minimum check sizes of $1 million or a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
So that's a little harder to get in the game directly there. It's easier to buy one of the publicly traded companies or to buy one of the income streams off one of those two online marketplaces that I mentioned. But I think this is an asset class that will become more publicly available. You'll have companies like ours that will ultimately offer to the public the opportunity to own music rights directly. It's just the industry is earlier in its maturity.
So what does your company do exactly for an investor?
What we do is we source, value, acquire, distribute, monetize, and collect on music rights. So you have an artist or a label, or in the music industry, there's songwriters who will write songs, have what are called music publishers. They're, I guess, analogous to record labels are to recording artists, publishers are to songwriters, and recording artists, of course, record songs that somebody writes. And so there's these two sides of the industry, the recorded music industry and the music publishing industry. And we go into both of these parts of the industry, both segments of the industry, and we find either artists or songwriters, labels or publishers who own popular music rights. Could be in any genre. A good example on the recorded music side is we own the rapper T.I.'s catalog, multi-Grammy award winner. He's done a tremendous amount of business over the last almost 20 years. And we, in 2017, acquired his recorded music catalog. Similarly, we just recently announced that we acquired a label named Beluga Heights that co-owns the Jason Derulo catalog with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
So these are the type of assets that we source. They're typically off-market deals, and there's a whole bunch of due diligence that we have to do. As part of doing the deal, we have to value these assets and these catalogs. We have to determine the optimal capital structure for these deals. And these are big deals, right? These are 7, 8, even 9-figure deals. And they can take anywhere from 3 months to a year to get done. It's not different really than buying a large piece of real estate, right? If somebody went into Dublin and bought a high-rise or a large commercial building, or in Manhattan or Los Angeles, those are complicated deals that involve a lot of negotiation, a lot of due diligence, complex financing. We do all of that, and then once we've bought the asset, we have a global footprint in 16 different countries, and we license that asset out to all the players, whether it's Apple, Spotify, local players in countries like China and India, Tencent, Savin, you name it. And we collect income essentially every time the music is used. Anytime we hear music around the world, whether it's on the radio, on television, streamed on a platform like Spotify or Pandora, in a venue like a restaurant, or not during COVID, but typically at a concert venue, there is a royalty that is owed to the creators of that music. That is the general rule. And it is our job to go out and identify, track, and collect for those uses.
Yes. And what about the volatility of it? Like, some artists will do better than others. Some songs will carry on for life. Well, I'm guessing a lot of songs are actually paid, if you think about the whole world, regularly. What is it, volatile, or is it quite a good, like the royalties are quite strong off it?
That's an excellent question. So in the era of physical product, right, with tapes and CDs and DVDs,
yeah,
it was volatile. And there was a large decay curve because physical retail could only stock titles that there were enough buyers in the local geographic region who wanted to buy those titles. And I call that buying density. And today in the digital paradigm, buying density is not a concept. You can put something online, there's infinite shelf space, and anybody in the world can buy or stream it. And so what we're seeing is it has smoothed out the engagement curve. There's still a large pop and decay for new popular music. But when you buy a catalog that has gone through its initial growth and decay curve, it's incredibly stable. It's literally like buying an annuity. In fact, catalogs, there are different segments of catalogs based on genre and based on initial popularity. But if you're buying catalogs that reached a certain level of cultural significance, what we're seeing is that they're not only stable, but with more people every day joining the paid music streaming ecosystem, they're actually growing.
Yes.
So you have catalogs that are 10 or 20 years old that are not decaying. They're making as much or more money every month than they did the prior month.
Yeah, it makes sense with streaming because we don't, people of different generations are interested in different music, and I could see how that could work. Jason, this has been an amazing conversation, really interesting about the music industry. It's something I personally have never thought about till today, and now my head's going, oh. So, Jason, for anyone listening to this, what's that kind of one aha, or, somebody who wants to invest and wants to get involved in the industry, what's that kind of message you want to leave them with?
Right now, it is challenging for a retail investor to get into the industry, but keep your eye on developments. I have a thesis that in the next couple of years, you will see a lot of options for buying into companies that have exposure to music rights. It's an incredibly good opportunity to own an asset class that is not correlated with the stock market. It's not correlated with interest rates. It's asset secured and produces a long-term annuity. So my suggestion today is keep your eye on the industry. There will be lots of new opportunities coming out, even though today it's a little bit difficult for a retail investor to access these type of rights.
Yes. Wow. Interesting. Peter, how does somebody get in touch with you or find out more about you?
They can go to our website, GoDigitalMG.com, and learn more about what we do. They can also find all of our contact information there. Again, GoDigitalMG.com, M as in media, G as in group. And we would love to hear from you.
Thank you, Jason. This has been amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Hey, everyone. Remember to join us in the Private Financial Freedom Podcast Facebook group with me, your host, Lorna Poole. This is a safe haven of like-minded wealth-getting go-getters who, like you, are on their journey to creating financial freedom in their life. This is where you and I can get intimate, I can give you the support and guidance to go from where you are now to where you want to be, developing your wealth mindset and creating your financial freedom life. Join at www.facebook.com/groups The Financial Freedom Podcast. You will see the links to this on the website. It's in the show notes, or type it into the Facebook group. All you have to type in is Financial Freedom Podcast and you will see us there. Look forward to seeing you in the group. Take care. Thank you for joining us on the Financial Freedom Podcast, to creating wealth, investing, and developing your money mindset. To get started today on your journey, head on over to www.lornapoole.com and grab your free course, 5 Steps to Breaking Free from Your Poverty Mindset and Accelerating Your Journey to Financial Freedom. See you there.